Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Round 3 of the TradeWise Gibraltar Chess Festival 2016 edition. This is the Master section between Anna Muzychuk, great player, sister pair, Anna and Maria Muzychuk. Maria is the current women's world champion, is her sister. Great player, rated 2537, and world-class player of Fressinet as black, rated 2700. Let's get to it. It's going to be a Scotch 4 knights, which I kind of like myself personally. D4, knight takes, bishop e3. Now be careful of this trap right here. Say you make take a random move, say a castle. Be careful of this trap. Knight takes, hitting the queen and your bishop's in pre. Be careful for that trap. Bishop b6, that's why the bishop moves back. Queen d2, according to the computer, that's the last book move. Knight g4, hitting the dark squared bishop. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, king takes, the bishop takes, pawn takes. Quite a few trades there. It's a game. Interesting postage stamp here of pawns. So I call it postage stamp. F3, just to kick the knight and help solidify e4. Knight f6 and castles. Check, by the way. Pick up a tempo. Now this may seem like a snoozer, but it's not. King e7. Black's got to get his late squared bishop out so he can connect his rooks, unless he tries to get the rook out on the A file. Bishop e2. H5, interesting, from Fressinet. H4, put a stop to that. B5, here come the pawns. A3. Bishop e6. And F4. Like I said, this may seem like a snoozer, but it's not going to be soon. I think Anna has done very well. 163 rating points lower than Fressinet, who's a world-class player. G6 brings the rook over, normal stuff. Now this is an interesting move by Fressinet, and oddly enough, it's the computer's first move as well. Knight e8. I'm thinking to myself, what happens if you go e5? I don't know. Don't care for that much. But bishop f3. Bishop g4, bishop takes, pawn takes, and of course g3 to guard the h-pawn. Now, there's going to be some problems down the road here. This pawn push, take. You're going to get a pass pawn out of this, one way or another. Knight d6, rook d3, interesting. Rook over, and knight to d1. Which I found fascinating. C5. She wanted to go the knight to E3. She wanted that spot. C6. Slowly that postage stamp is creeping down the board. E5. Finally she goes E5. The knight moves to C4. Rook takes, knight takes. B4. White's doing pretty well here, besides just being up a pawn. I like her kingside pawns there. Look really, really good. And if somehow this pawn can come up, it stymies all of this. All of it. A4, B5, you have to try something. B3. Now this is where I think Fressinet stumbles. Let's look what to do now. Do you leave it? You got to move the knight. You don't have a choice. It's tempting to go leave the knight and pawn takes pawn takes, and start pushing these pawns down, but it's not going to make it. So you got to move the knight. Where do you put it? You put it on E5. You put it on A3. Or you put it on B6. I probably would pick B6. That's just me. But knight to A3. And now it's an over 2-point advantage for white. After knight to A5, A takes and C takes. Don't get me wrong, black is still worse here, but it's a lot better than what happened. After knight to A3, A5. C4. If you have gone rook to A8, just to give you an idea. E6. And that finishes the game. You have to go F5. And it's over after knight to E5. So C4, rook D1, rook A8. Can't trade rooks. If you do, your king's going to have to come over and chase this pawn. And this knight will just eat up both of these pawns and it's over. Knight F6. Rook takes. The white didn't wait. Computer likes rook takes A5 too, but C5 is an interesting choice as well. Or even C takes B, causing C takes B, making an open file on the king. But he decided to take the pawn. And rook to D7 check. King to E6, only move. I'll take that back. You can go to F8. But you're going to be doomed there. G4. The noose is tightening. Rook A8. And Fressinet has blacks in a tough spot here. Rook D6. I think rook C7 is even better. Then after C5, rook takes, C3, rook checks, king, knight D5 check, king F8, and just a mop-up job after that. But rook D6 is good enough. After king to E7, she goes rook to D7 again. Now, I'll give you an idea. Let's go back here. Right now, the computer has it at almost a 3-point advantage for white. What to do, what to do. Rook to D7 check. And the computer shows this is dead even after king to E6. What was Fressinet thinking? He went king F8. And now it's over. If he had gone king to E6, this is the continuation. Doomed. So either way, I think he was doomed, but oddly enough, see, this is the thing with the computer. I'm looking at it off screen. King to E6 shows being dead even, which I don't buy for a second. But when you go through the sequence of king to E6, that's the problem with the computers here. Now it shows a 3-point advantage for white. So E6 wasn't drawing. But after king to F8, believe it or not, the best move on the board is E6. Now after F takes, knight checks, king G8, knight checks, king F8, H5. Here come the pawns. Pawn takes. Then knight checks again. King to G8. It's looking bad. Knight F6 check, king F8, and now you go G5. Not worried about the passed pawn. And now the pawn is going to waltz right in. 1, 2, 3. And that's where Fressinet resigns. Best move for black here is probably rook to E8 and then G6. And there's nothing that black can do. Totally helpless with that rook and knight holding back his king. Anyway, folks, I thought that was a decent game. Congratulations to Anna. She's a great player. And her sister's also a good player too. Women's world champion, Maria. So hats off to her, and tough break for Fressinet. This is a really strong open tournament. I mean, I'm watching the tournament. You can go on livestream.com. If you push it under Gibraltar chess, you can watch all the rounds with the commentators. And there's a lot of players I've never heard of. They're in the 2600s. So this is quite a tournament. Of course, the big names are there. My buddy Akaro Nakamura, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, Fressinet, even Getakamsky, who once came within a hair's breadth of playing the World Championship. Former U.S. champion. Used to be top 10 player. A lot of great names. And this is a great tournament for women as well. Big prizes for the ladies. And I think well deserved. And as I always say, folks, at the end of my videos, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.